Welcome back, friends, family, and other distinguished guests. Yes, we just wrapped up with NFL Wild Card Weekend, and it was definitely a wild weekend. Definitely very exciting. Seemed like all of these games came down to the wire, besides the last two. But yeah, definitely fun. Enjoyed myself watching these games. Games came down. Very close. It came down to the last couple minutes in the fourth quarter before a lot of these games got decided. So I'm gonna talk about it during this show. This is the recap show, the NFL Wildcard recap show. During my previous show, which was the preview show, I given out some Moneyline picks on which teams I felt like that was gonna win during this weekend. And I end up going 4-2 with those picks. So above 500 once again. Feeling good about that. Didn't go perfect. Thought I was going to go perfect. But I'm going to talk about where I went wrong at. Some improvements I could be had. But without further ado, I'm going to hop into this first game, which was the Rams versus the Panthers. As you see, this was a very tight game. The first time they played early in the season, the Rams end up losing against the Panthers, and the Rams almost end up losing again. And they barely escaped with this win, but I just felt like the Rams was gonna win this game. Stanford just kind of had to keep proving himself. I mean, he is the MVP, but would it look horrible if we got the first round bye? So, not sure you can call it the script writers. Not sure if you can just call it just a good game, but just kind of figured Rams was going to win this one. But yeah, it took a late touchdown from Stanford to win this game with 38 seconds left. But he put up some yards. He went 24 for 42, 304 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. And Puka had himself a day. He had 10 catches on 18 targets, 111 yards with 1 touchdown. Also, he got into it with the ground game with 3 carries, 14 carries. Three carries for 14 yards and 1 touchdown. So Puka was definitely cooking. Young, he had a strong showing. 21 for 40, 264 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jalen Cooker, as this Rams team cannot stop the slot for some strange reason. He had 9 catches on 12 targets, 134 yards with 1 touchdown. So this was a very exciting game. Just figured the Rams was going to win just because of the Stanford agenda, and they end up pulling this off. Next week they play the Bears. I think they're going to, it's going to be an interesting game. But make sure y'all check out my Divisional Round preview show, as I will talk more in depthly about that game. But this was a win for me. Like I said, the Rams is playing very good, even though the Panthers almost beat them. But this game was a lot closer than I expected it to be. Next game, divisional battle. This was round 3 versus the Packers and the Bears. Bears end up taking this one. We the Kings, comeback Kings. The Magic started, and I was very skeptical. At halftime, it was 21-3. I almost turned off the game, but I forgot who we were. We the Bears. We come back. We the comeback legends, man. We got the Iceman on our team. We got it done. And this was probably the best game on this wild card weekend. But yeah, Caleb Williams went 24 for 48, a lot of passing, but it was required. 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions came on 4th down, so I'm not really tripping too much. But yeah, we're gonna have to start off a little bit faster when we play the Rams. This is a high flying offense, so we're going to have to go stride for side. We're going to have to score points. We just can't get these field goals. We just can't get this fourth quarter magic going on again. But like I said, I'm going to talk some more about that during the Divisional Round preview show. But yeah, shout out to the Packers. Strangely enough, Jordan Love had a pretty good game. He went 24 for 46, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. And each one of his receivers had a touchdown, which was pretty good. So, they were just cooking us in that secondary. But Bears, like I said, we the comeback kings. We ended up scoring 25 points in that fourth quarter and came back. Colston Love had a monster game. He caught 8 catches on 15 targets 137 yards, and DJ Moore caught the game-winning touchdown. So definitely very impressive game. Figured the Bears were gonna win it. I mean, it was a little biased part of my fandom for the Bears, but yeah, we got it done. Next game, this was an L for me. I was expecting the Jaguars. If you was watching my preview show, you know I chose the Jaguars as my Super Bowl. I was riding for them for going to the Super Bowl. Didn't quite make it. This was a close game. You know they had the opportunity to win it. Josh Allen, they couldn't stop him. That touch push was crazy. It went for 10 yards and almost a touchdown. And he was cooking. He had 28 completions on 35 attempts, 273 yards for one touchdown. Shakir, he caught all his targets. He went 12 for 12, 12 catches on 12 targets for 82 yards. So, you know, this Bills team, I felt like they should have lost, but you know, the Jaguars made too many mental errors, too many turnovers. Speaking of that, Trevor Lawrence had 2 interceptions this game. He went 18 for 30, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns. But those turnovers are huge. These past couple weeks, he has not been turning over the ball. But this was a little, mishaps, and he ended up turning the ball over. And that was the major difference, because on that last drive, they ended up getting an interception. Essentially ended the game, and the Bills, took control and took a knee and ended the game. But, I feel like the Jaguars faded the run way too early. They had a lot of success on the ground between Travis Etienne, Bashan Tuden, and Trevor Lawrence. They had 149 yards, so I would have liked them to see them run the ball a little bit. The Bills just can't really stop the run like that. So I think they faded the run a little bit too early. But, they got the whole offseason to think about it and retool. And this Jaguars team is going to be a threat going forward. Next game, this was the 49ers. This was a win for me. Just kind of figured that the 49ers kind of used to the Seahawks. They played them a couple times. So they was playing a lesser version of that with the Eagles. The Eagles, their offense still hasn't been looking good. They're just looking sloppy. And yeah, the 49ers pulled it out despite the George Kittle injury. He's going to be out. He tore his Achilles. But yeah, CMC wasn't doing nothing. And the fact that Kittle's going to be gone, I don't really expect him to do much either. So I think this is the 49ers' last win. So hopefully they enjoy it. They've been a very, very hurt team. But yeah, they still show something in this game. Brock Purdy had 18 completions on 37 attempts, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Demarcus Robertson, he came out of nowhere with 6 catches on 7 targets, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, they made the plays. Even Jawan Jennings got in the passing game and threw a touchdown to C-Mac. So, this 49 team was in their bag trying to figure it out, and they pulled it out late. The Eagles definitely had the opportunities late drive. Hurts, I guess it was a Hurts game. He hasn't really been playing that awesome this whole season. Went 20 for 35, 168 yards, 1 touchdown. Barkley actually looked solid. He had over 100 yards on 26 carries, and he contributed another 25 through the air. But yeah, A.J. Brown, it looks like it's time for A.J. Brown to find a new home, as he didn't really have too much strong showing here. But the Dallas Goedert, he had 2 touchdowns this game, so that magical season continued. But just kind of figured the Eagles was gonna lose this one just because they was just playing sloppy football, and Hurts wasn't really showing too much, and it kind of looks like they was just winning despite their offense. And they played a 49ers team that showed a little bit of offensive power, and they fell short this game. Next game was the Chargers and the Patriots. I did not know Omarion Hampton was going to be on one leg. When I seen him with that big old boot on his ankle, I just knew the Chargers was going to be in trouble. And they didn't show anything this whole game. I think it was because of the Mario Hampton injury, he just brings a different juice, a different energy to this team. And they was lacking it. Kamali Vandell was a good placeholder for a couple games, but he's not a long-term solution, especially in a playoff situation against a pretty solid defense like the Patriots. So I figured that's where they fell short at. Justin Herbert kind of had to do it on his own. He went 19 for 37, 159 yards, and he was actually the leading rusher with 10 carries for 57 yards. But shout out to Drake May, first playoff game, he got it done. 268 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he had 66 yards on the air. Ramon John Stevenson, he got it done too. 53 yards on the ground, another 75 in the air. His totals out 128 yards all purpose. So I take that L. Did not know, like I said, did not know Amari Hampton was going to be hurt. If I would have known, would have changed my outlook on that game. But hey, it happens sometimes. And then this last game was the Texans and the Steelers. Steelers did not stand a chance. Old man Rodgers. Yeah, this Houston team got 2 touchdowns on defense. And anytime you score on defense, you're more likely to win this game. C.J. Stroud put up 250 yards, but it wasn't like an impressive 250 yards. And Nico Collins ended up getting out this game. So Christian Kirk had a pretty big game on 8 catches on 9 targets, 144 yards and 1 touchdown. And Woody Marks went off for 19 carries, 112 yards and 1 touchdown. So still, the team was just kind of just taking advantage of, couldn't really stop nobody. And that's why I kind of figured they was going to win. Texas has been hot, and they continue their hot streak. But yes, that was the wild card weekend. Like I stated in the start of this video, went 4-2. So, above 500 in the green. Definitely loving that. So, looking to continue my hot streak. Next weekend. It's gonna be less games on. So I'm hoping to get a clean sweep, a perfect, no losses. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna be doing that video and dropping that soon. So if you have not already, hit that bell notification for all those people that subscribe. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you can be notified every time I'm getting a video, and you can get some insight and kind of craft that perfect parlay so we can get some money. This is the last couple of weeks into the playoffs, to the Super Bowl starts. So keep riding high with me, and I'm gonna keep giving y'all my best picks so we can make this money. But like always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch y'all on my next show. Peace.